Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Migrating Business Critical Applications to Azure, How to Optimize Your Hybrid Cloud with Pure Cloud Block Store on Azure. This event is presented in partnership with Pure Storage and Microsoft Azure. My name is David Davis of Actual Tech Media, and I'll be serving as your moderator on the event. We've got a really cool event lined up based around an exciting new product from Pure Storage that runs on Microsoft Azure. We want to help you to get all your questions answered, and I encourage you to use the questions box. It's there in your audience console on the left-hand side. We will be queuing up the best questions for a dedicated Q&A session at the end of today's presentation. We also have a number of special links and handouts available in the Handouts tab, including links to learn more about the exciting new Pure Cloud Block Store on Azure and sign up and try it out for yourself. And finally, we'll be announcing the winner of our Visa $300 gift card at the end of the webinar. If you're watching this on demand, of course, the drawing has already occurred. Prize terms and conditions can be found there in the Handouts tab. And with that, I'm excited to introduce you to today's expert presenters. Welcome Jay Subramanian, Vice President of Product Management at Pure Storage, and Ong U, Partner Director of Program Management with Microsoft Azure. Jay, Ong, it's great to have you on. I'll first hand it off to you, Jay. Take it away.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of the folks that are joining us. Thanks for joining us. With me, I'm Jay Subramanian, the VP of Product Management at Pure Storage, and with me is Ong O, the Partner Director for Azure Storage Engineering. Thank you, Ong, for joining the webinar with me. I appreciate the partnership with Microsoft. What we are going to talk about here today is how do we migrate business critical applications to Azure, and what are some of the things that Pure Storage and Microsoft are jointly working together. And we want to give you a preview of some of the things that are coming soon. That said, I just want to introduce Pure Storage to you. Pure Storage has been in business for about 11 years. We are about a $1.64 billion company with over 8,000 customers. More than anything else, what Pure has done very well over the last 10 plus years is revolutionize storage and bringing all-flash arrays initially into the market. But beyond all-flash arrays, the main thing that we have done is radically changed how customers are able to deploy storage and making it as simple as possible with a lot of the things that we brought into as around Evergreen storage and others. As recently as this week, we heard from Gartner, who published the Magic Quadrant. We are the 7 years in a row. We are the leader in the leadership category, and we are the furthest most in terms of the leadership in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. Of course, the business continues to grow. And the other thing that we are extremely proud of is the Net Promoter Score. Typically for B2B companies, the Net Promoter Scores tend to be fairly low, but our Net Promoter Score is at 82, which is in the top 1% of all scores with our comparative cohorts. We have a unique differentiation with a lot of innovation over the last 11 years. I don't want to go into each one of them, but I'm sure you can read through some of this. You can also see it at purestorage.com. In terms of delivering modern data experience, that's really where we are looking to change the game. We've obviously been working with a number of different verticals. And as you can see from the slide, pretty much all of the leading verticals that are in play has Pure deployed in it, and we are helping them with the modern data experience. Obviously, there is a lot of things that are unique to each one of these verticals, but we have been extremely innovative in terms of making sure that at the end of the day, the business value that Pure Storage provides is extremely unique. And obviously, we are working with partners like Microsoft to a great extent, realizing fully well that ecosystem is extremely important, especially in the context of hybrid cloud and hyperscaler environments. Now, just to kind of give you a quick introduction of our product lines, our FlashArray product lines has been out there for the last 8+ years. And the FlashArray X, which is our flagship product, has been shipping for 8 years. And FlashArray C has been shipping for about 2 years now. FlashArray X is optimized for latency, and FlashArray C optimized for capacity. In terms of applications and workloads that we support, pretty much every workload that you can see can be served by FlashArray X or C. Some of them you see as the production databases that are typically deployed in the enterprise, enabling hybrid cloud with a whole bunch of environments, whether it's bare metal or VMware or Microsoft environments, as well as also next generation analytics, as well as also test and dev and tier two deployments. At the end of the day, Pure has been revolutionizing is not just in the context of appliances, but also in the context of cloud, which is where Pure Cloud Block Store comes into play. Pure One is our management paradigm that has a lot of the phone home capabilities that allows you to look at what's going on in your environment and proactively take steps there. The other significant game changer is the Evergreen paradigm, which allows you to get new every 3 years. And that's a paradigm that we introduced in storage many years ago. And this is something that is now mimicked by a lot of other partner vendors as well in the industry. In terms of these Evergreen storage delivered, the way it works is you're able to get an architecture that's based off of Purity. Purity is our software operating system that runs on any of the Pure appliances, whether it's FlashArray or FlashBlade. And it provides you a significant flexibility in terms of our software-defined paradigms, whereas in terms of capacity to add shelves, guaranteeing performance across multiple generations, and obviously getting you the latest and greatest features and capabilities and software updates, as well as connectivity. Similarly, from the perspective of processor innovations, shelf innovations, meaning media innovation, as well as software innovation, that's the other thing that Purity Evergreen provides in this context. The key promise, however, is never to have a downtime or a performance loss, or never to have data migration. That's really the promise of Evergreen, and that's really how Pure has been delivering for the last 10 plus years. Now, the topic at hand, one of the common things that we see is around the capability to have not just data on-prem, but also the data to be able to seamlessly move either into a service provider environment or into the hyperscaler cloud. This is where Microsoft Azure comes into play. Cloud Block Store is essentially a software-defined version of the Purity operating system that allows you to enable data mobility and protection, as well as also provide capabilities to run in the cloud. That's really what Cloud Block Store is about. Now, that's really what we want to get to, but today there's a divide. The divide is the paradigms between on-prem and cloud are very different in that the typical applications are very different. In the on-prem case, it's mostly the large enterprise databases and ERP systems that you're familiar with, whether it's SAP, Oracle, or SAS, or SQL Server. But in the context of web scale, it's very different applications. It's the MongoDBs, it's the Couchbase, the Sparks, the Kafkas, and so forth. Similarly, from a management experience perspective as well, a lot of it is dedicated hardware, CapEx, and depreciation and manual management in the context of on-prem. And in the context of off-prem or the cloud, it's APIs that are driving everything. And it's not only that, the consumption model is also very different in how customers consume the cloud or in the cloud. Similarly, in terms of storage, a lot of it is dedicated arrays with a lot of reliability and features. In the context of the cloud, it's shared storage services and simple and scalable things. That's the divide that we see today. And as we saw, a lot of things and attributes are very different. Different resiliency capabilities, different efficiency capabilities, different set of APIs, and obviously what the world is moving towards is to be able to provide block, file, and object service in the cloud, rather than just providing it in the context of on-prem storage. But at the same time, looking to provide all of the same features that are provided on-prem, as the reliability, the thin provisioning, the management experience, and so forth. As we saw in the last slide and this one, all of these paradigms are extremely different, but how do you bridge the gap and how do you bring all of this together? That's really where we have been working with Cloud Block Store as well as with Microsoft Azure. We want to be able to bring seamless orchestration that allows you to manage on-prem or a colo or a service provider environment, along with what is going on in the cloud. At the end of the day, we want to have a common shared services or common data services across both the on-prem as well as in the context of the hybrid cloud. That's really where we have been spending a lot of time, and that's really where Pure Cloud Block Store for Azure comes into play. What Pure Cloud Block Store allows you to do is take the same Purity version that is provided on-prem and bring that in the context of either hosted environments or in the context of Microsoft Azure with Cloud Block Store. And you can essentially take the software version of it, the software defined version of what we provide with blocks on-prem, run it in the cloud as Cloud Block Store in the Microsoft Azure environment, and provide the high available, high resiliency and efficiency, as well as the mobility and protection capabilities, and a consistent set of APIs that can automate all of this stuff. Bottom line, we are providing the Purity capability natively in the context of cloud on Azure. And what you're able to get is not just the significant innovation that Azure has provided with in the infrastructure. On top of that, the data management services that Purity brings that layers on top of Azure. That's really where this is coming together. Pure Cloud Block Store for Azure is now in tech preview. And let me talk a little bit about some of the other capabilities. It's a completely software-defined version. Like I said, it's the same Purity that runs on our FlashArray appliances that are typically used on-prem. It's got the industry's leading storage efficiency capabilities and the data reduction capabilities. You're able to have your workloads thin provision, making sure that you are able to have the levels of data reduction and efficiency. It also provides you to have the levels of data mobility because they have replication technologies and data mobility technologies built in within the context of Purity that allows you to move data between on-prem and the cloud. And of course, the paradigm that is being brought in on top of Azure is it's got a consistent UI and an user experience that can be the same between on-prem and the cloud with all of the same levels of data resiliency. And because of the fact that I mentioned we have data mobility and replication capabilities, you're also able to do things that are enabling you for business continuity, DR capabilities, backup, all of those things in the context of different availability zones. And that's really one of the key things that we're bringing to Microsoft Azure environments. Now, let's talk a little bit about some of the use cases. The common use cases that we see with a Cloud Block Store will be disaster recovery, meaning you can take an on-prem workload and do a DR to the cloud. You can migrate to and from the cloud for any number of reasons. In some cases, you want to be able to take advantage of the compute or the other capabilities in the cloud. You can do that. And you can bring it back as well. The data mobility capabilities are there. Similarly, we want to be able to have the flexibility of dev tests. That's also possible in the context of the cloud Azure Cloud Block Store for Azure environments, as well as also have active cluster capabilities. This is synchronous replication capabilities between availability zones within the cloud. These are the common use cases that we get into. Let me dive in a little bit more into this some more. So here's a DR capability where you have a production application that is running on-prem, and the cloud copy is a DR target, where you have 2 or 3 different ways of doing this. Async replication, you can completely do a DR failover between the on-prem as well as the cloud availability zone. The other part of it is you are able to get cost-efficient clones, as well as also making sure that you have complete data protection while protecting the integrity of the data. That's really where we are providing with as a DR target. This is the common use case that we see in the context of DR. The other one is around dev test. Again, similarly, quickly spin up cloud instances. Take a copy of what you have on-prem, bring it into the cloud, and essentially clone a bunch of copies within the cloud, and using a synchronous async replicated copy, and sort of use it for dev test targets. Again, very common use case, and this is one of the things that we have been excelling at as well. Now that we've talked a little bit about some of the use cases, I want to also talk about our partnership with Microsoft. Microsoft obviously is a leader in and a well known in the software industry. Nobody needs to know. Nobody needs to be introduced to Microsoft, and obviously they have a lot of solutions around Microsoft SQL Server, Exchange, as well as a number of other things that they have done. What we have been doing with Microsoft is to partner with them on Cloud Block Store, enabling on-prem, hybrid, and native solutions in the context of Azure Marketplace. We have obviously a very rich business today with our Microsoft SQL Server and Exchange that's on-prem. We also have some products around Cloud Snap, which allows you to offload snapshots from on-prem into the Microsoft Cloud. That's a product that we've been shipping for over a year now, almost 18 months now. And then we are about to introduce Cloud Block Store. In parallel, Pure Storage acquired Portworx very recently, and that's also another paradigm that allows you to do hybrid cloud management with containers, and that's also something that we have been working with Microsoft on. Obviously, the Azure Marketplace is where some of these capabilities will be available, and we will obviously co-sell Cloud Block Store, which is currently in tech preview, as well as Portworx. These are things that we absolutely will continue to work with Microsoft on. And the key thing that I will emphasize is not just the innovation of Pure, but also bringing in the capabilities to have Pure and Microsoft Azure work together. We already have an existing strong relationship in the context of the on-prem businesses, but taking this further, not just in the context of on-prem, but also bringing it into the context of hybrid cloud and in the context of hyperscale capabilities, bringing some of the Azure capabilities, especially in the context of large enterprises and large customer base, and bring Cloud Block Store on Azure, built on Azure shared disk and UltraDisc. This is really where we are headed to. We've already seen some significant momentum in terms of the tech preview that we have been doing with Cloud Block Store, now leading up to the GA, which will come in soon. That's really where we are. With that, I'm going to pass it to Ong. Thanks for taking the time, Ong, to talk a little bit about some of the things that you're doing with in your context.
Hey, thank you very much, Jay, and thanks to Pure Storage team for inviting me to be part of the webinar. We are really excited about the upcoming release of Pure Storage on Azure and how it can help our customers help with their move to cloud. First, I want to share an overview of Azure Disk Storage portfolio and highlight the specific SKUs that Cloud Block Store is built on. Azure Disk Storage offers a comprehensive range of block storage solutions for every workload, from low-cost storage options for backup to high throughput, low latency storage for demanding applications such as SAP HANA and other transaction-heavy workloads. You can choose from disk storage options at various sizes and price points, which enable you to optimize your performance and cost by selecting precise storage for your workload needs. Looking at the screen from right to left, UltraDisc is our highest performing disk on Azure with low latency and extremely high throughput and IOPS. And the next up is Premium SSD, which provides SSD-based storage with well-balanced with performance and cost. Cloud Block Store will come with two offerings, one with 100% UltraDisc, providing the most performance-optimized storage, and another powered by both Premium SSD and UltraDisc with a balanced price performance options. So I'm glad that Pure customers and our joint customers will have the flexibility to choose whichever best fits their need. Next slide, Jay. And now let's take a closer look at the UltraDisc, which is the highest performing block storage on Azure for your mission critical workloads, and offering up to 160K IOPS and 2,000 megabytes per second throughput with sub-millisecond latency on a single disk. And also UltraDisc enables CBS to deliver the high performance for customers looking to run their mission critical enterprise application in the cloud. It also offers consistent low sub-millisecond latency on NVMe, similar to Pure Storage on-prem, SEM appliance on NVMe SSDs. UltraDisc is designed to build and enable our customers to migrate their most demanding enterprise workload to cloud, especially applications like SAP HANA, top-tier SQL, NoSQL databases, and other transaction-heavy workloads. So in addition to delivering high performance, UltraDisc also offers unique capabilities that provide customers flexibility and scalability. With UltraDisc, you can dynamically scale your throughputs and IOPS to meet demand without shutting down your VMs. You also have the flexibility to configure capacity, IOPS, and throughput independently to choose the characteristics that meet your performance need. Next slide, Jay. So CBS takes advantage of Azure Shared Disk, which is the only shared block storage in the cloud that supports both Windows and Linux-based cluster or high availability applications. With Shared Disk, which is supported on both premium SSD and UltraDisc, allows you to attach a single disk to multiple VM instances, which allow Pure to simplify their product architecture with much lower total cost of ownership and provide a comprehensive high availability solution on Azure for customers. Shared Disk also enables use cases like cluster database, parallel file system, persistent containers, and machine learning applications. Because of Shared Disk, which allows you to lift and shift your cluster or high availability applications, this also helped Pure accelerated their onboarding and introduction of CBS on Azure. Next slide, Jay. So as I shared, the combination of unique Azure Disk storage capabilities like Azure Shared Disk and Pure Storage provides a comprehensive high availability solution that allow our joint customers to seamlessly migrate their mission critical workload to Azure. And with the mix of premium and ultra SSDs, customers have flexibility to optimize based on their price performance needs. And we are really excited about CBS coming together and can't wait for our joint customers to make their move easily to Azure with CBS. And we also appreciate the strong partnership that we have with Pure on this journey. And now I will hand it back to Jay.
Thank you, Ong. Appreciate your taking the time to walk through some of the key value propositions that we are providing as well as with you. Really appreciate the partnership. And again, in terms of where we are, I think that's kind of the prepared set of comments that we had. But we obviously, some of you will be eager to get your hands on Pure Cloud Block Store. It's available in tech preview now, and it'll be pretty soon available as a GA in the Azure Marketplace. With that, we'll conclude the webinar. Thank you. Thanks again, Ong.
Thank you very much.
All right, excellent content, really exciting stuff that you guys are doing together in this partnership. I want to make sure that I have Jay and Ong there. Are you ready to do some Q&A?
Yep, I'm good.
Excellent. All right. We got lots of good questions coming in. If you have a question about this exciting new announcement, now is the time to get it in. So let's see. First question I wanted to ask, and that is, what's the difference between using Azure native storage offerings like Premium Disk or UltraDisc versus using Cloud Block Store? Why would someone use one over the other?
Yeah, I think, as you know, Azure already provides a very good infrastructure, but what Cloud Block Store does on top of the Azure native storage is taking advantage of some of the key data management capabilities, whether it is thin provisioning, deduplication, and also replication between on-prem and off-prem. That's really the added value that we are providing. At the end of the day, what we are really doing is collaborating with Microsoft and to ensure that we can solve problems that customers face. And the most common ones that people look at is, I have some data on-prem, some data off-prem, and I want to be able to not thick provision everything. Those are the kinds of problems that we're solving at CBS.
Very nice, very nice. And then next question that came in, they're asking, what about recovery point objective or RPO? What kind of RPO is provided by Cloud Block Store?
So I think there is a couple of different ways you can look at it. If you're doing synchronous replication between two entities, two availability zones, then you're looking at synchronous replication capabilities, which is a 0 RPO. But you can also do async replication, and that's again obviously much more time in terms of RPO, which is of the order of minutes or an hour, depending on how you configure your async replication. And then if you want to essentially do this from the context of doing offload to offloading a snapshot or uploading snapshot data, then that's a higher RPO. So there is different variables that you have, and you can pick and choose which one you want, whether it is based on sync, async, or offload.
Got it. Excellent. Okay. Next question. There's a couple of them actually around this topic, and that is exactly how is this deployed? Does this run in Pure's Azure account or in a customer account?
So you have to essentially do this using CBS subscription. It's deployed based off of the subscription that you already have on Azure. That's really what you have to do. So it is based off your subscription with Azure. And then how is it deployed? It's we can use the marketplace, and then we have managed apps to deploy the CBS automatically. At the end of the day, everything is based off of your subscription with the Azure marketplace.
Excellent. Very nice. Next question. Here's a competitive question. I'm not sure if you want to cover this or not, but they're asking, what's the difference between this versus NetApp's Cloud ONTAP and other similar solutions?
So a couple of things I would say in this context is Pure obviously has a lot of data management value that we have provided, and the simplicity aspect of it that we have provided with the Purity appliances and Purity, and taking that into the context of Azure is really what we have done. The second part of it is we also have a high availability dual controller architecture with Azure Shared Disk, and with the result you can also get better high availability within the context of a single zone or single availability zone. So it's better availability, better durability, and resiliency, as well as some of the industry leading data management capabilities that you get on top of some of the competition.
Excellent. And can Cloud Block Store do replication between multi-cloud and hybrid cloud locations?
Yeah, you can essentially do replication between two environments as long as you have CBS replication on. There is no restriction between having it between FlashArray and the CBS or between two CBS instances, if that's what you're asking. Yes.
Very nice. And then what about the licensing model? How does that work?
So the licensing model is based off of capacity, and you can buy this on the Azure marketplace once it becomes available, or you can go directly to purestorage.com and then get it as part of the Pure as a service or from Pure resellers or partners. So you can either buy it in the marketplace, or you can get it through Pure or Pure's partners.
Very nice. And then before we go, I know we're running out of time. We want to kind of keep this short. I want to point out the two links that are available there in the handouts tab. One is for the open registration for the Cloud Block Store on Azure beta program. It's a simple form you can fill out to get registered for that. And then also a link to Pure Cloud Block Store in the Azure marketplace. Jay, I wanted to ask you, if someone goes and fills out the form to sign up for the beta, kind of what happens after that? What's the next step?
So what we end up having is the request comes into our folks internally, and then they'll just vet it with you in terms of the use cases, and then allow you to provide you a link to get the access to the beta.
Awesome. So nothing to install, simply deploy it in the Azure marketplace, and it's good to go. Really exciting new announcement, exciting new technology with this partnership between Pure and Microsoft. I'm afraid that's all the time we have in our Q&A. Jay and Ong, thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ong.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone out there who joined us on today's special webinar event. Don't forget to check out the Pure Cloud Block Store for Azure beta registration form. The link is right there in the handouts tab. And while you do that, I'm going to announce the winner of our Visa $300 gift card. That's going to Anna Shirley from South Carolina. Congratulations. We'll reach out to you. And after this event, don't forget to go check out Pure Cloud Block Store in the Azure marketplace and sign up for the registration of the beta. And with that, I want to thank you to Pure Storage and Microsoft Azure for joining us on today's special webinar. And thank you to everyone out there in the audience for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us and learn about this exciting new announcement. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.